Well, good morning. As a staff, we've been developing devotional style material, videos for some time now. We thought that we could go in a slightly different direction. I would be interested in answering your questions based on scripture and my perspective. And over the years, we have at times had even services on Sundays where we did this type of thing. I think this would be a good platform for you to ask your questions about Christian life or the Bible, and then for me or somebody else to prepare a response for that question. All you need to do is post your question below this video. Our question for today comes from Jasmine, and here's the question. How can you believe in something that can't be scientifically proven? And I think this is a question for Ravi Zacharias, who now is in the presence of God. But I think that to start answering it, we need to look at the terms. So I'm assuming that we're talking about God here, right? So how can you believe in a God that is not scientifically proven? And then the word science, I think we mean being able to measure, to touch, to see, to experiment with it and things like that. So that's what we mean by the word science. And there's also another term in that question, is that believe. That's also a misunderstood term. So what do we mean by believe? To know something is true. Let's use it that way, okay? So to know something is true. So how do you know something is true? How do you know something exists or that something is present? So to put all those things together, we change the question to become something like this. How can someone know that God is present when you can't see, touch, or measure Him? That's the question. So the traditional illustration here is gravity. All of us live within the reality of gravity. I guess you could say we believe in or we know gravity. Some people stop to think about it. Most people don't, okay? But some people stop to think about it and say to themselves, hey, how come things go up rather than or how come things go down rather than up? An even smaller group of people have studied it and understand universal gravitation as described by the mathematical genius Isaac Newton. What I'm saying is this: there are different levels of knowing that in no way change the reality of what is. That is the gravitation. So maybe you're thinking, gravity exists within the realm of the material world, whereas God doesn't. Well, again, it depends how you're defining the question. If you are only willing to know things or allow the existence of things which you can touch, feel, measure, and see personally, then I think you'll be limiting yourself to a very selective group of things. For everything else, you have to believe here is that word, believe. You have to believe the research and understanding of other people, and that includes universal gravitation, in order to say that they exist at all. So the question becomes, whose teaching, whose research, or whose understanding do you trust to shape your understanding of the world? Are you allowing the research of, say, Robert Hooke for your understanding of the biological cell? How about Louis Pasteur for your understanding of the interaction of molecules? Those people, just like, many hundreds of others, and just like our dear Isaac Newton, lived several hundred years ago. So it just so happens that to understand about who God is and how He speaks to me today, I need to start with the experiences and recorded history of the Bible to see what God has already said and done. In this way, if I'm willing to recognize that the world around me is created by an eternal and loving God, then and only then can I begin to understand and experience God in my life. Psalm 19, verse 1 says, the heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Science pretends to have the answers to everything when it really can only answer what questions? What is it? How does it work? What should we name it? What good does it do for me to constantly be coming up with proofs that my wife exists? For example, here I have a ring, and that's proof that I guess my wife exists. But and I can touch her and I can hear her voice. But what about the fact that I love my wife? Where is that? Right? So 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 12 says, for now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part. Then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. In other words, we have enough evidence to know that God exists. The more important question for us today is, why do I exist? A question that science cannot begin to answer. Looking forward to hearing what your questions are, and just post them below. And thank you very much. Bye-bye.